about cell phones as listed properties. Are there any other listed properties like automobiles that are out of date and need to be updated?
I would eliminate all the listed property rules, to be honest. That's one way to simplify the code, make life easier for small businesses, and really eliminate a disparity that really shouldn't exist.
Okay. And my question is to you. On the first day of the 110th Congress, I introduced H.R. 46, the Small Business Tax Flexibility Act. One of the provisions in that bill will give small startups the ability to choose the fiscal year that best fits their business cycle. This hearing is all about modernizing the tax code to make it more small business friendly. With that in mind, why is it important for our tax code to be flexible with regards to small businesses that are in the startup stage?
Well, I think, first of all, thank you very much for introducing that bill. It is something that the AICPA has supported and believes is necessary and has really thought that for a long time. So thank you very much. Mr. Rosenthal mentioned that most of the businesses in his industry, and in fact most small businesses, many small businesses, too many small businesses, fail in their first year of existence. Right now, almost all small businesses are required to adopt a calendar year. There are a couple of problems with that. First of all, that may not match up against the corporation's natural business year. Second, if a new business starts up in October or November, after being in business in those first critical months, it has to stop, close its books, and prepare a tax return. This would give small businesses the opportunity to have a fiscal year that matched up with their business cycle, and for a new business to have an opportunity to operate for a full 12 months before it has to close its books. As an aside, both Mr. Rosenthal and Mr. Greenblatt mentioned the fees that they're paying to accounting firms. I personally like to thank you for that. But because most of our small business clients are on a calendar year basis, there's an enormous amount of work that CPA firms have to compress in terms of serving their clients into a very short period of time. I think that having fiscal year flexibility would allow CPAs to devote more time to smaller new businesses at a time of year when they're not so incredibly busy. So that's another important part of this provision.
Thank you. Mr. Rosenthal, I know that Jasper has been in business for over 25 years, and I wanted to get your thoughts on the recent stimulus package that includes tax rebate. In 2001, Congress passed similar legislation that sent out tax rebate checks to millions of Americans. At that time, did your industry or restaurants see a significant boost in revenues? And do you anticipate higher volumes of business when the checks start arriving in May?
Well, we're all hopeful, but that's a question which we have been pondering, because the last time that happened, we didn't face some of the issues we're facing today, and that is, at the current rate, it probably would fill up someone's tank maybe 2 or 3 times, and I don't know if they're going to have any money left to spend at restaurants. So I'm not overly optimistic that we're going to see that trickle down. The real problem... But
in 2001, you
it did help.
That.
It did help.
Okay.
It did help at that time.
Right. Mr. Mackey, the R&E tax credit obviously is of great importance to your industry. Traditionally, that credit has been mainly utilized by larger companies. How, in your view, could the credit be modernized or simplified to make it more attractive for small businesses or more friendly?
Well, as I mentioned before, I mean, I think there are, when you think about the wireless industry, you're thinking about big businesses, but I do think there are a lot of smaller companies that are able to use the R&D credit. I mean, my firm, for instance, we don't use it because we end up outsourcing a lot of the development of the software and things like that to other companies, which I assume are using the credit, so we benefit indirectly. So I do think there are perhaps more small businesses that are able to take advantage of the credit that some people may generally realize. And even if they don't take advantage of it directly, indirectly they're able to benefit from the new products that are being developed by small businesses that do take advantage of the credit.
Thank you. Mr. Hoops, I'm sorry. How would the changes that you discussed make small businesses more competitive? And do you believe that these reforms could encourage greater small business formation?
Yes, I do believe it would encourage greater small business formation. I think the changes that we discussed, most of which are relatively minor and simple to fix, would go an enormous way, would make enormous strides toward making it easier for small businesses to comply with the tax law and to put their time and efforts to earning more profits. I mean, one of the other members was looking for the big idea. I think that I've been in this business now for over 30 years, and in those 30 years, everyone's always looking for the big idea. But my experience and judgment tells me that there really is no big idea, and that we would make a lot more progress, especially in a down economy, by focusing on fixing the hundreds of things that could be fixed relatively simply in the current tax code to make it more efficient and easier to comply with for small businesses.